Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the old world. I hope you're all doing well, and today, my friends, we're back with the Tzeentch vs. Greenskin showdown. It's going to be VILTCH the Curseling facing off against Grimgor Ironhide. Certainly a little bit scary. You know, VILTCH, of course, is a good fighter, but he does lack armor piercing. So against someone like Grimgor, he is going to have to run quite a bit, which is going to be quite funny. It's pretty hilarious. Like, I can just imagine, you know, the nerdy twin, the caster one at the top, like, being like, run faster, run away from Grimgor faster. But as far as the build goes, guys, this is going to be a land battle, so we have a couple Chosen of Tzeentch. Now, Chosen of Tzeentch are just super cool. They do magic damage, which is somewhat pertinent against the Greenskins. If we're talking like Savage Orc Biggins, who do have physical resist, these guys are going to be able to surpass that, which is pretty cool. But the idea of this build, I wanted to go with Halberds, but I also wanted a more sustainable front line, so I was like, let's stack the Chosen of Tzeentch with the Spawn of Tzeentch. The Spawn of Tzeentch, of course, have armor sundering, so against something like Black Orcs, which are super heavily armored, you can bring them down to 80 armor and make the Chosen fight a little bit more effectively. And they hit pretty hard themselves. So I'm hoping that this combo will be good enough to kind of hold up in the front line. Now, we also have VILTCH. VILTCH is pretty cool with the elite units, with the Chosen, with the Spawn, all these units that have those shields and a little bit of durability. He does have the Vessel of Chaos. So as he casts spells for 12 seconds, it's going to be replenishing the barriers of nearby units. So if you have him there, you're spamming Pink Fire, all that sort of good stuff, he's going to be doing that. Now, he does also have the Paragon of Change. This is a constant replenishment of barriers, so you can do this, plus the Vessel of Chaos, and you're going to be able to heal up your Chosen pretty effectively. I mean, it essentially just is a heal, right? It's going to be healing their shields. In the back, we have a couple blues. Blues are there to shoot at stone trolls, any other targets that are a little bit bigger. We want to have some focus fire, and also they're not terrible in combat. Now, one thing that I'm just having a little bit of fun with, probably wouldn't bring these in like a super sweaty environment, but it's very early on, is the Severed Claw. So these are the Arwar aspiring champions. They have anti-large, they have armor piercing if they're stone trolls, if there's a giant, anything big. Grom the Punch, for example. These guys are just absolute units. I mean, they're pretty massive, and their mass, I think, is not bad, 600 per model. Okay, let's look at like the massive Chosen, for example, and see. I mean, they should have more for sure. And yeah, these guys are 160. So you can like trap up a chariot character with a couple of them and have some fun. But that's not it. Over here on the side, a couple units of the Marauder Horsemen of Tzeentch, a new addition to the Tzeentch roster, extremely useful, really good in the skirmishing game, obviously decent fighters. They do also have fire damage, so that is good against trolls, anything with regeneration, and they can, you know, skirmish with greenskin skirmishers and keep you from being poked. Up at the sky, two Screamers. Screamers are there to deal with large targets, so any cab, squig riders, orc war boys. Honestly, and their armor piercing isn't terrible against like Black Orcs if you can get a rear charge. They just don't like to be the ones taking the beating because they have very low melee defense, but if you can get those opportune charges, they could do quite well. Now for the Great Wah, it's going to be Death's Creepers and a nice skirmishing core, which honestly is trading pretty well. Going to be pulling back to try and get my Protoss shields back online. Aside from that, it's Orc Boys, Black Orcs, Orc Biggins, just a ton of big, angry Greenskin infantry, and the Black Orcs are actually going to be super good against my build, I think. For ITP, not that I have anything that causes terror, but could be useful in other situations. Squig Hoppers, Spider Riders, just a big old Greenskin Wah led by Grimgor, and I believe there's an Orc Shaman with the Foot of Gork, which is also quite good if I have like Knights. And Foot of Gorking on my Chosen of Tzeentch should honestly be really good. So the skirmishing phase of the game is on. We're just kind of poking back and forth. He takes a little bit of damage, so do I, but overall I think that he came out a little bit ahead. My shields are down, and on top of that, the HP of my units is quite a bit lower as well. Going to be going after some Orc Boys. Was thinking about doing some cheeky charges with the Screamers because obviously the Greenskin army is very kind of spread out. So if I had like some Chaos Knights or mobility that I could really isolate this position, it would have been worth an Alpha Strike for sure. But we very much have an elite VILTCH army, which I think VILTCH is really going to be shining with Tzeentch blob builds if you have like a box. So both in Domination, if you're trying to hold a midpoint with elite infantry, even Forsaken, whatever, that shield regeneration is basically just healing, right? So a little bit of a freebie charge here, Marauder Horsemen get in there, and we do hit the Orc Boys and take out a couple models, but at the end of the day, I think I end up taking a little bit more damage than I give, although it's pretty close. Looks like it was a somewhat even trade. But the big battle's going to be underway soon. The Black Orcs getting ready to meet the Chosen of Tzeentch in combat. We do get the Blue Horrors, who are going to be unloading a salvo of fire into the Black Orcs. And then the wall of heavy metal is going to be colliding here as you see the big old spawn bull rushing those Black Orcs, breaking their charge very effectively, actually, and allowing the Chosen of Tzeentch to kind of saturate in there in a relatively safe manner. But the Black Orcs definitely taking quite a bit of damage initially, and that's a good start as now VILTCH is in there. He's going to be regenerating the shields. You see the shields going back up, so again, you are getting passive healing. And the Gateway of Tzeentch going to be going down to these Orc Biggins who didn't want to get in on the blob, but for some reason the spell got canceled. It must have been some user error on my end. I must have done something else, but we even get a better opportunity. So here we see a huge horde of Greenskin Cav coming in, so Squig Hoppers, Spider Riders. So the Severed Claw is going to be running over here with their anti-large to help out, but we also get a huge gateway here, and that is going to be so devastating to these guys as the Changer is watching, and he saw this Alpha Strike coming in, and you do not want to be blobbing against the Changer. Severed Claw getting a little bit of damage as well, but that's pretty brutal. Overall, that's probably about 1,400 gold from the Greenskins that just got put in the trash can right there. So you got to watch out for those big punishing, spells that Tzeentch can have. In the front line, though, Greenskins are getting a little bit more favorable trading. VILTCH is getting his absolute butt kicked here by Grimgor. Grimgor can beat up Sigvald like very easily. So if he can take Sigvald, you can see the nerd is like, get out of here, man. He's telling the jock to run away and carry him into the sunset here. But Grimgor gets the advantageous trade. I do lose my blues in the back, and the Greenskin Wa is pushing in. So despite having a very good engagement there with nuking that blob, the Greenskins still have a lot of pressure all over the battlefield. Here we use some Screamers to take down these Black Orcs with the Chosen and the Spawn. So it's a pretty close fight. We were up in, the Greenskins were up on value a little bit, but it doesn't take into account the healing that my shields have been doing, right? Because VILTCH is going to be constantly healing nearby units, and these Chosen just showing how truly solid they are. I mean, their stats 46 and 60, though the Black Orcs are getting the Wa right here, which is really going to help them surpass that durability. But they're holding back a Black Orc, they're holding back Grimgor, and an Orc Shaman, which I think is very, very cost effective. So very scrappy fight so far. Here, more Black Orcs have moved in, and my spawn of Tzeentch got absolutely wrecked by the Morgrim's Magi Marauders and the Death's Creepers, pulling in a couple Marauder Horsemen to be countercharging here. Gotta try and break them. I don't know who's going to win in a pure fight. I think Spider Riders probably would in a vacuum and sustain fighting, but we do get the charge, so we do have the charge bonus advantage. Now VILTCH is going to be fighting with the Severed Claw here, so the elite Chosen of Tzeentch are going to be getting their shields healed, and man, they are so cool looking. Aspiring Champions did get changed on the Warriors of Chaos in general. They now are a little bit of a different unit. They're more expensive, but I don't know. Part of me almost likes them how they were before, but yeah, they just don't seem like great either way. Chosen of Tzeentch and the Marauders back here, bunker busting, and now we're going to be going for a flanking engagement. So some Black Orcs were coming back from their vacation here. But the Screamers, like I said, have good armor piercing, so they can get in there, and they can really, really punish some of these Black Orcs, doing some good damage. And looking at the bounce power, it is pretty even for sure. I would say, like, right dead in the middle. If I hadn't gotten that big punishing blob on his mobility, I think the Greenskins would be a little bit ahead overall, because Grimgor and the Black Orcs are really, really just inexorable, man. Severed Claw here getting beaten down. Grimgor pretty much one-shotting whatever he hits, but the Chosen of Tzeentch holding on like champs and actually out-trading the Black Orcs. And a lot of that is simply because of stats, like 32, 32, 50 against 47, 61, 48. And of course, he Chosen a better leadership as well. So even though they lack armor piercing, they seem very strong. Now, VILTCH is coming in, and he's looking to get some freebies here. So going to be going after the Orc Shaman. Orc Shaman does unleash a gaze on him as he moves in, but VILTCH should be able to get the decisive victory here, although he turns around for a second, very strange. There he goes. He's gotten his focus, and he gets the big mace attack, and the Shaman is going to be running for the hills, shaken, as VILTCH's shields heal very, very quickly. So VILTCH kind of functions like a caster Sigvald is one way I like to say it, but this was pretty bad for me. Grimgor comes out, he says, "You're next, lad," and he gets in there, he's getting the crumpet on, but I pull in the Horsemen, and the Horsemen are able to screen out Grimgor, which is good, because otherwise, VILTCH is just dead there, and that would probably shift the balance of power, because Grimgor would be pretty tough to kill, and there's still a fair amount of Black Orcs on the battlefield. Now, one thing that was good is I have a full health unit of Chosen who've gotten 111 kills. So these guys were in combat long enough to get 111 kills and 600 value against Orc Boys, and they took like no damage, dude. Absolute beasts. So they're going to be moving in to reinforce the Severed Claw. Here they come. Grimgor getting that nice crumping. VILTCH, I'm not sure where he's at. Okay, he's still running from Grimgor, and yeah, he gets karate chopped. Still running, shields regenerating, of course. Screamers and other units piling in with the remnants of spawn. Furies, of course, going to be very good for cleanup. And it's looking like the Greenskins are starting to kind of fall behind in this game a little bit. Obviously, you can see the bounce power is in our favor, but Grimgor is pretty much the anchor of the bounce power. Ideally, we're going to be chasing everything down here, making sure nothing comes back. Black Orcs here are taken down by the elite of Tzeentch, but not before putting up a pretty excellent fight, to be honest. Look at the shields on these Chosen, man. They're such linebackers. I think of all the Chosen, like Khorne Chosen are pretty good, but Tzeentch Chosen with that passive healing from the shields, especially with the village type character, I think they probably are one of my favorites. The Chosen of Nurgle are very cool, but they only have 23 speed, which is really, really brutal. It takes a long time for them to get places, which is more of an issue in domination, I suppose, although in land battles, Nurgle can be kited pretty bad. I think Nurgle honestly has more viability, I think, in... They are good in land battles, a little bit more situational, but I think they actually do pretty good in domination mode. So, VILTCH the Curseling going to be heading over. Grimgor is surrounded. Everything is pretty much being chased down right now, and at this point, it's basically Grimgor versus the world. The VILTCH is just running nearby, and he's cackling. You can see the shields are regenerating in combat, which they normally, it's a little bit harder to do. But there we use the Tzeentch sniping ability, and it's basically going to be a circle beating of Grimgor for the foreseeable future here, as he just eventually gets dragged down by the Aspiring Champions, and the Chosen, you can see, he's going to be trying to push out, but we get a resurround, and Grimgor will break. VILTCH cackling. It was all planned from the start, of course. VILTCH knew he was going to get beaten down. He knew things were going to be rough, luring Grimgor into a false sense of confidence, but Overall, man, I'm really, really loving the Mortal update. You can see here a good value, 900, 1200. Severed Claw were a little bit terrible. I really think for like another Tzeentch Chosen would have been exponentially better, like way, way harder to deal with, right? VILTCH got 2200 value. Some of his magic, I think all of that pretty much came from that huge Vortex he got. And the Horsemen, of course, quite useful, 1000 apiece, not bad. And yeah, the Greenskin build was cool. I mean, Black Orcs, dude, 1800, 1000, and yeah, those Black Orcs were, these are the ones that got caught in one of the other Vortexes, but the first two were just beast mode. Grimgor, of course, kind of got trapped up, wasn't able to catch what he was looking for, but I think the big decisive moment in that game was the huge Vortex. I think that even if I didn't get that, it was pretty like, yeah, I had to go for it. But if I didn't get it, I think the game would have been more even. I think it could have gone longer and gone either way based on some of the plays. Because I still had a lot left at the end. I had a lot of Chosen, but could have been different with some Squig Hoppers and Spider Riders like chasing things down, right? Anyways, GG, well played. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Champions of Chaos showdown with VILTCH the Curseling. And ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with more action soon.